What's up, guys, and welcome, Matt Johnson. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, Luke. How are you doing in these crazy times? You well? You safe? Your family's safe?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. And before we jump into anything, I want to announce a couple things real quick. We've got winners from last week, our show with Colin Cloud. Winners that picked up any at the table lecture that they wanted. Want to mention them real quick. We've got from Facebook, Lex Schwartz. Congrats to you. And our YouTube winner, Federico Johns. All they had to do to win was like and comment on that post, and they won. And you guys do the same today. Like and comment, and you can win your choice of any at the table lecture. But now, let's chat with Matt Johnson during these weird times. You doing okay over there, man? You kind of staying busy, hanging out?
Yeah, we're good. I
Yeah,
mean, staying as busy as everybody. I mean, we're all inside, right? So
yeah,
it's. I think more than anything, it's about trying to stay creative and just making sure that your focus is there and making sure that you are cool within. Because I mean, when you're trapped inside like this,
yeah.
it's hard. It can be hard, both physically and emotionally. So I think it's really important. So I'm just trying to stay interested, trying to stay creative, trying to still make contacts and keep in contact, hanging out with this little guy here and my wife. Yeah, so, we're good, man. We're
Good,
good.
good,
How
good, good.
about you guys?
Yeah, doing well over here, man. We are, trying to make things as normal as we can, which is why I love to do things like this. Have people like you come on and chat about
Sure.
what you are normally doing. Normally you're on the road, you're performing, you're doing shows.
Yeah.
So this is a chance for me, selfishly, to actually get to chat with you guys. They're usually too busy to do this stuff. So,
It's actually from that respect. You want to come say hi? Come on then, bud. This
Yogi.
is this is the famous Yogster. Hey. So I mean, in that respect, it's kind of cool
Yeah,
because as any performer, like full time pro or traveling performer, will tell you, um, while it seems like this glamorous lifestyle, you spend most of your time in airports and on the road and on planes, and so it gets really hard and it gets really lonely being away from your family as well. So I mean, be careful what you wish for because now we've got plenty of family time. I mean,
yep.
I'm here all the time. I'm driving my wife crazy, actually. She wants me to go back on the road for sure. Um,
That's
but yeah,
funny.
yeah, but it's nice to just chill, relax.
Sure.
I think you kind of go inside and you start to learn a lot about yourself as
Yep.
well, and so in that respect, it's been good.
Well, speaking of getting to know people, we're going to get to know you today. You do a lot of crazy stuff. I've had a chance to see you do some of it as well, and there's been some strange things happen as well. We'll talk about that later. Some not so fun things, but the biggest question from our first question coming in from Kieran: how did you start with escapism? What did you learn first? So you do these escapes, you do this crazy stuff. What made you even decide to start doing that in the first place? That's a pretty crazy thing to do.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I could talk for days about this, so I'm going to try and break it down.
All right.
I started as a magician at like 12 years old. A lot of magicians have got a very similar story, and I've always been a magician. So, and growing up in England, I was very lucky to have a magic shop, and so I'd go there, and I kind of got introduced to all aspects of magic, whether it be close up, mentalism, comedy, stage, illusions, juggling, unicycling, balloon twisting. I kind of did everything. I had that kind of grounding. So I've always done that. So I've always been a magician. And then when I got to about 18, 19, I started creating as well, and early 20s, mid 20s, start putting out products and things like that. And I've lectured and done magic conventions. In the beginning, early in kind of 14, 15, 16 years old, I was interested in escapes, and I had posters of Houdini on my bedroom wall. Actually, I only had two posters on my bedroom wall as a kid. One was Houdini, and one was the iconic photograph of Lance Burton floating around Birdcage. And so I was into escapes. And when I was about 16, 17, I did a straitjacket escape from a crane. I did I was on the front of the newspapers. I don't know if that's in shot, but on the front of the newspapers doing escapes and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really anything I was really into from a performance perspective.
Got it.
And then I carried on my career as a magician. And then it wasn't until about 3 years ago 3.5 years ago that I started doing the water tank and training for it underwater, and that's really when I started getting into escapes in a big way.
Wow. I've got some clips we're going to show as well of you in action doing some of this stuff. And actually, there's one clip that's never been seen before at all, which is pretty cool too.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know. Have I seen it?
I don't
What have you
know.
got? What have you got? What did my wife send you, Luke?
I will show you later. So I guess the question to go along with that is, which escape artist, this comes from Becky, what escape artist did you look up to the most? Was it Houdini? I guess there's not a lot to choose from in that world, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot more than you'd think. And which escape artist did I look up to the most? Well, obviously, as a kid, it was Houdini.
Yeah, sure.
And still now, I mean, Houdini's, he's kind of like this iconic superhero almost. And so I think a
Sure.
lot of us escape artists are not look up to Houdini. But one of the escape artists that I really looked up to was a guy from here in Canada, from Winnipeg, called Dean Gunnison. And
Sure.
Dean Gunnison, before I ever moved to Canada in 1998, I'd seen his specials on TV, and the one where he's hanging over the Hoover Dam by his toes, and all this crazy stuff. And so he was a big inspiration to me. And interestingly enough, last year, I think it was, when I was on The World's Best, I did an upside down straitjacket escape from a burning rope. And that was actually Dean's version of it. And I asked him if he would allow me to do it. And not only did he allow me to do it, but he flew down to LA. And if you watch the clip of me doing that escape on The World's Best, he was the guy that was calling out the time, that was strapping me in, that was setting the rope on fire. He was there on stage with me, which, obviously from my perspective as a performer and having him as a hero for many years was just a dream come true. I mean, it was incredible to have him there. And there's a photo of him on my wall here somewhere. One of his posters actually is here, signed to me from him. So I mean, that's being a magician, being able to come full circle and being a full-time performer, or even a semi-pro or amateur, whatever. A lot of times we get to meet our heroes and we get to work alongside our heroes, which is very humbling for somebody, especially very humbling for me, because when I'm in The Illusionist, I look to my left, I look to my right, and I think one day they're going to figure me out and I won't be here anymore, because these are the top people in the business, So, but I mean, you start to learn to appreciate your own talents and your own and respect kind of your own style, and understand that you also have something to bring to the equation. You have something to give. And so that's important, to be sure of yourself and to be certain of yourself and be confident in your own abilities. You too are just as special as everybody else out there. You just got to be confident and get the job done.
Well said. And we've seen you. This clip really does highlight a lot of the things that you've done, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, you've done so much, but it wasn't always, like it is now, or the way it was before this shutdown happened. Where you were traveling the world performing. I mean, it took time of you performing smaller gigs and finding yourself as a performer too. I mean, I knew you before you turned into the escape artist. Started doing that stuff. I knew you before then.
Yeah, you did,
so.
and you were my friend, even though
True that.
even though I wasn't well known then, you were still my friend. That's a good guy right there, people. Yeah, it was. I've spent years, like I say, being a kids entertainer, being a balloon twister. Anybody that's followed me on Facebook and stuff knows all this. I've spent years and years and years doing that. And again, it goes back to how I was raised as a kid in the world of magic with the local magic shop. I got to experience all facets of magic. Right. And I think it's really, really important. If you're going to be a full-time performer, whether it be on stage or on TV or whatever it is, certainly on stage, where you've got to command an audience for 60 to 90 minutes, it's really important. The best performers, in my opinion, are the ones that have had that upbringing where they've done it all. They've learned improv, they've done comedy, they've done close-up, they've done mentalism, they've done kids stuff, because you take all of those tricks, pardon the pun, you take all of those tricks and you put them into your bag and that is what you take with you on stage. It's that experience and that professionalism, and so watching people like Paul Daniels as a kid,
Mm.
for me, Tommy Cooper, that's what they did. Paul Daniels especially, if you watched his show, he did a bit of everything. He wasn't just a one trick pony. I kind of don't believe in this whole I'm a mentalist, I'm an escape artist, I'm a
Oh, the
close up
labels.
guy.
Yeah.
I just, you
Yeah.
know what? For me, it's about just getting on stage and doing your thing, and
Yeah.
and giving the audience a good time. So, however you do that, what you use as your vehicle, to me, uh, Yogi's snorting. Can you hear him? Whatever you use to do that is all right by me.
Cool. This was a question from John Shackelford. I'm just trying to find this real quick. A lot of us are kind of hanging out at home and trying to find our way. His question was, what are you doing these days to kind of help pass the time? You know,
Well, if you follow me on social media at all, you'll see there's a couple of things that I'm doing. Like a lot of people out there, I'm probably drinking too much. Alcohol sales have gone up by 40% in Canada. I mean, it's crazy, man. But joking aside, I'm doing a couple of things. I've started a YouTube channel on watches, and it's painful for me to watch these videos I've done, because I'm going from being a performer that knows his craft to a craft. I know YouTube's been around for centuries, but to a craft that I don't understand, and to a performance style that I don't understand. So, but I'm doing it because I love watches. I've always loved watches. So I don't, for me, doing a YouTube channel on watches, it's not about performing, it's not about magic, but it is about being creative and learning a new skill. So, I'm going from the escapes on Britain's Got Talent on YouTube, which have got hundreds of millions of views, to I've got 31 subscribers on my watch channel. Yeah, Yogi's like, what? Only 31? So I've got 31 subscribers. But, I'm doing that because I find it fascinating and I'm interested in it. I love magic, but I have no
yeah,
interest in performing on YouTube, performing on Facebook,
sure.
or
That's fair.
doing or creating magic. I have no interest because it's my life. It's what I do all the time.
Yeah.
So, I'm doing that for a creative outlet. I'm running Yogi's Instagram page, my little dog, Yogi One Kanogi. Um,
Love it.
and not Kenobi, Kanogi with a G. So Yogi One Kanogi is his Instagram page. I'm running that.
Great.
And then, that takes a lot of time. And then outside of that, on the weekends when my wife's home, we are, we're just spending time together. We're enjoying each other's company. We're going on walks,
Sure.
staying safe and social distancing. But that's essentially what we're doing. And at the same time, I'm still following, leads. I had a Skype meeting with a client this morning in Belgium, and we've got this going on and a couple of other things. So we're just, just being alive, being happy, being healthy,
Right
and
on.
staying productive. Yeah,
Well
yeah.
said. Well said. And also to the rest of you guys watching, if you have any friends, you have any magicians you think should be watching this, make sure to click the share button. Share this in those magic groups if you haven't yet either, or tag a friend in the comments. Make sure you do either one of those things. I've got a clip of yours to show as well. This one's pretty wild. It's the other one that you sent me of you performing on the world's best. So why don't we have a look at this so the guys can see you in action doing something absolutely crazy.
Sure.
If you want to kind of walk the guys through this one, this is pretty
Yeah. So,
intense. It's pretty damn
yeah,
intense.
World's Best was a show that I was on CBS. It was hosted by James Corden, and the judges were RuPaul. There's Dean there, Dean Gunnison,
Yep.
best escape artist in the world, certainly one of them. So yeah, RuPaul, Faith Hill, and Drew Barrymore, and so that's the guy I was going up against, Lee Wei, who's an incredible Cirque performer. Anyway, I was invited to be in the show. It was considered the top 50 performers in the world. They invited us all as the best in our genres. And I did the first round doing the water tank, and they immediately cut it down in half to 25 contestants. And I made it to the second round. And so what you see here is my version of the upside down burning rope escape. So the burning rope escape that you see me do, the rigging and everything, and there's Dean there getting me ready and putting the lighter fuel on the rope and everything. The burning rope part and the rigging is Dean's, and he brought that with him. And he, I spent time with him in Winnipeg with him training me. The addition of the flamethrowers going off when the clock reaches zero, that was kind of my take on, there's either jaws that clamp down, right, if you don't get down in time, or there's various things. So my take on it was to have this clock that when it hit zero would set off these flamethrowers, which were pointed at the place where I was hanging. So if the rope didn't burn through first and I dropped on my head, I'd have to get out of everything and release myself and get down, or I'm going to get essentially barbecued. That was my wife there in the audience. Mm-hmm. So this actually, the only time I'd done a upside down straitjacket escape before this was when I was 16. I had a friend who had a crane company, and the rope wasn't on fire. I just went upside down and escaped, and they brought me down. I haven't done a straitjacket escape since then. And in fact, until we did this was, we did one rehearsal and then took me up. So this that you're seeing now was only my second time ever doing a straitjacket escape. And this was my first time ever doing it with a burning rope, with the flamethrowers. And we just didn't have time on the TV show to get any more time in than that. That was it. What you're looking at was it. I had to learn how to drop properly so I didn't break my legs on the fall and all that kind of stuff. But what you're looking at here is the first run through was on TV.
Wow.
So you can see bits of fire falling there. So it was pretty intense, man. It was pretty intense. And here's the drop at the end, and the flamethrowers go off at zero. And there you go. Yeah. So I think it's important to say that that sometimes, especially in the TV business, you don't get time to do it again and again. You just have to go for it, and looking back on it now, watching it now, there are certain things I wish I did differently. There's things I wish I did better. There's things I wish I could change. But it is what it is, And so, and I was up against Lee Wei, incredible cert performer. He beat me, so I got voted off top 25. I got voted off that round. But what an incredible experience, and getting to work with, my idol Dean Gunnison was a thrill and a dream come true. So I'll never ever forget it. Yeah,
crazy. John Czar would like to know, because we're talking so much about the escapes, are there any books or resources you can recommend when it comes to escape magic? I mean, or escape.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a bunch of you guys out there, magic companies like Murphy's, or if I can say it here, Penguin Magic, bunch of you guys, just go on your websites. So I know Murphy's doesn't sell direct, but if you go on magic shop websites around the world and in the search bar, click escapes or escape magic, or, there's a whole slew of stuff. There's DVDs, there's books, there's actual equipment you can buy, everything from handcuffs to straitjackets, there's also a guy here in Calgary called Richard Sherry. And if you go on Google and just type Richard Sherry Magic, Sherry is Sherry, I believe, Richard Sherry Magic, you can find his website, and he builds big stuff. So he built my water tank that was used on Britain's Got Talent. He built the headbox metal straitjacket escape that I use on Britain's Got Talent, and Tusa Cavallis in Rome. He built that. He's also made other things for me. So he's certainly a good resource, but a lot of that stuff's expensive. Like my water tank was, like $5,000. Oh, wow. And I've had two, because my first one cracked and split open in rehearsals of Britain's Got Talent. So I've had a couple. So yeah, other resources, books. I've got some books here, actually. Oh, cool. I think I'll just go off short. You know what, Lou? I'm not a big book reader. I always say I can read, I just don't have time. So I'm not a big book reader. I've got a whole bunch of books over there. You know what? There's books all over here, and I never read them, so I don't know where they are. But I've got a couple of books. This one's cool. Cell Escape: The Real Secret, David Duvall. This is very cool. This was a gift from Becky Taylor and and Alan. Actually, it may have been Becky that asked that question earlier. Um, they're in England, and Becky's dad was David Duval,
Oh wow.
a British escape artist, one of the best in the world. And so this is a book on all about how he did his cell escapes, the ins and outs of that, and skeleton keys and methods used and things. This is another good one here, The Secrets of Harry Houdini. This is a great book. It's got a lot of stuff in there about, Keller ties, rope ties, thumb ties, handcuffs, stuff like that. Also really interesting, kind of looks into his life, black and white photographs, posters, that kind of stuff in there. This is another good one, The Secret Life of Houdini, right here. I'm sure The Secret Life of Houdini or The Secrets of Houdini, if you go on Amazon or eBay, you'll be able to pick up these books. This is not so much a how-to in escapes. This is more about his life, and it gives you incredible photographs from his life and his past and his escapes and things like that. There's also and I should look this up on my laptop here. There's also in England Becky and Alan are going to basically hang me up for this, because I'm a member of this of this organization. In fact, if Becky's out there watching this, or Alan, if you could just type into Luke the name of the organization again.
Becky Taylor is watching right now.
Okay, yeah. Becky, what's the name of the organization again? I'm so bad, man. I was invited to join. I did, and it's a collection of like-minded people in the UK that do escapes. They meet, I believe it's once a month. They practice escapes. They help each other. It's kind of like a magic club, but for escape artists. And anyway, I'm a member, but of course I've never been because I'm in Canada. And also, I can't remember the name, not because I'm not interested, but because my wife will tell you I can't remember her name half the time.
The United Kingdom Escape Artists. That's a hard one to remember. Not really.
So it's UKEA.
It's not IKEA,
United
IKEA.
Kingdom.
Not IKEA.
Yeah, it's not IKEA. Although a lot of magic props come from IKEA, but UKEA, the United Kingdom Escape Artists Association. And I've been following them on Facebook, and they have meetings, they've got a lot of members, they do great things, because escapes, it's easy to get into magic, right? We can all buy magic, we can all get books, you can go to your library, you can join a magic club, go to a convention, but escapes on its own, it's kind of like the PEA for mentalists. It's important to have a place and an organization where you can go and share ideas and help each other be safe and learn from each other's experiences and mistakes as well.
Can I jump in real quick with what you just said?
Yeah.
I have a question for you based on what you just said.
Sure.
That escape artists are kind of their own thing, their own animal, The one thing, and I posted this on a magic group a little while ago, and you did jump in and you shared your thoughts, but for the rest of us, is an escape artist a magician?
I just said, I caught myself there saying, like you said, escape artists are their own animal. I'll take that back a little bit.
Okay.
What I mean is, if you join a magic club and go to a magic club and you want to focus on, let's say, escapes with somebody, you're going to have to try and find the people in that group.
Yes.
It's like joining the PEA, the Mentalist Association. You're going to have to try and find people in that group that are of a similar mind, and you can kind of workshop and stuff. So what I mean that this group is kind of putting a group together so that people who may do magic and mentalism and kids parties who also do escapes can kind of get together and focus on that one
but to the lay
stream.
Public, is an escape artist a magician? I know we've talked about this before, and it's a great topic because in the spectator's eyes and the audience's eyes, is what an escape artist is doing, is it a trick?
Right. Now, this is really interesting. It's kind of the same as saying, is a mentalist a magician?
Exactly.
Right? Because
it's true.
A lot of mentalists want you to, whether or not they want you to believe, or they imply that what they're doing is real. There is certainly an implication, maybe not knowingly or on purpose. It's not like a mentalist going out there and saying, I'm a mentalist and this is real. But maybe you certainly want to imply it, because otherwise what you're doing looks like a trick, and that loses the power of being a mentalist,
Yeah.
right? And so I suppose you could say the same thing about escapes. I think for me personally, because even though I'm known on TV for doing escapes, it's certainly not just what I do in my everyday life or my performances. If you saw me on a cruise ship or saw my theater show, you're going to see me do magic. You're going to see me do mentalism. You're going to see me levitate somebody. You're going to see me do improv comedy. You're going to see me do all close-up magic. You're going to see all these skills. The important thing to me is not whether or not an escape artist is a magician or a mentalist is a magician. The important thing is, to me, is that whatever you're choosing to perform, whatever vehicle you are using to perform, you do it with authenticity, right?
Yep.
And therefore, if you do it with authenticity, and the audience, and also not only be authentic but be believable. Now, whether you choose to be believable by being a good actor and not telling the truth, but first time I ever saw snow was when I was 8 years old. But what I'm saying is, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying the road that I've chosen to take now is that every piece that's in my show, whether it be an escape or close up or whatever, is based around the story of my life, right? So, and getting off subject a little bit, the reason that I do that is because it allows me to riff the show while still having a structure, but not having to memorize the script, because I know the script, because it's the story of my life. So I know the story of my life. So by having pieces of magic or escapes or whatever in my show that are based on very important moments in my life, like my brother having seizures and that being why I do the water tank. By doing that, it allows me to have a concrete structure to my show, but it also allows it to not feel structured to the audience, because a lot of times if it feels too scripted, the audience feels like, well, I could just, I don't have to be here. They could just do that, and it doesn't matter whether I'm here or not, because that connection with your audience is so, so, so very important, and breaking down that wall between you and allowing them to come in and be a part of the show and making them realize it couldn't happen unless they were here is so very, very important. So going back to your question, I think the question for me is not, are escape artists magicians or a mentalist magicians or a magician's escape? I don't think it's important to label it that way. I think it's just important that you are authentic, you're honest, and you're believable, whether it be in an authentic way or the fact that you're a great actor. Because at the end of the day, look, if, for example, with the water tank escape, it doesn't matter whether the audience believes the chains are real, the locks are real, the handcuffs are real or not. It doesn't matter either way. I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying it doesn't matter, because I'm underwater for 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. You can't fake that. They understand that on a visceral level. They understand that fear and they understand that struggle. So, and also, because I'm very authentic on stage and it's about my real stories, the audience doesn't question it. They're on my side. They're with me. So therefore, I could do McDonald's Aces, or I could do Gypsy Thread in my show and then go and do an escape. And they don't say, well, he's a magician, so it must be a trick. Because I'm very authentic about what I'm doing. So the audience doesn't question whether it's real or not. They just believe me, and they trust me as a performer, right? So I guess in a roundabout way, that's kind of answering your question, I suppose.
And the reason I asked this, because I did dig deeper while you were chatting too, and I remember posting this in the group that we had this open convo about. For instance, if you Google Harry Houdini, the description pops up. Harry Houdini was a Hungarian-born American illusionist and stunt performer. Also, if you do a search for David Blaine is an American illusionist, endurance artist, and extreme performer. It's just interesting to me that the lay public, when they hear the word magician, they think of Houdini, they think of Blaine, but they're not even labeled as magicians. That's what.
But why? Who makes that label?
I get it.
Is it just magicians that make that label?
No, I
You
mean
know,
this is
because
like a generic. I mean this is from David
no,
Blaine's
what
website. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is it's more important to us, it seems, as
Yes,
magicians
sure.
to label ourselves in one way or another. And I don't know if that's so that we can hang out with the cool kids in that group or what. I really don't know what it is.
That's fair.
But it seems to be much more important to us to label ourselves that way
Yeah,
than it is to an audience. I think, and I go back to Paul Daniels. Paul Daniels was an incredible performer because he could do a piece of comedy magic, and then he could do an illusion, and then he could do the bunko booth, and then he could do, you know, some bizarre magic, and you just follow him on the ride because he was an entertainer. It was all about him being an entertainer.
hmm,
People remember people, not tricks. So it's about the connection and about entertaining people, not necessarily what medium you're using to do it. And I think it's okay. That's okay, but be believable and be authentic. Because if
sure.
you're not believable and authentic, your escape's going to look like a magic trick. So what's the point?
That's true.
There is no point. And just one more thing:
Sure.
the fact of the matter is, with my escapes, there are certain things in there, safeties and outs and stuff like that. But with my escapes, like I can't hold my breath for 5, 6 minutes, 4 minutes. I just can't.
Mm.
So what you're seeing is real. Now I choose to do it that way because when I come out of that tank at the end, I'm so elated to be out that you see it all over my face, and the audience sees that, and the audience reacts to that. Now, you can be the best actor in the world, right? But you can't take a free diver and make him an escape artist in a water tank because it would just be too easy, and it will come across as too easy. People aren't stupid, you know. People get it. So for me, I choose to throw myself in there and lock myself in. And it's not fun. It's painful, you know. But when I come out, that elation is worth it a
Real.
million times over because the audience sees it and they know it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So regardless of what else happened or whatever else I'm doing, that is real, and that's what it's about. That's what you've got to create. That's what you've got to emote in your audience
Sure.
is laughter and fear and, you know, and all those things.
Cool. Here's a good question from our Facebook friend Jacob. It's a great one because I'm sure there's got to be something real here. He says, your wife is very strong seeing you on your acts. How does she feel about that? So you doing these escapes, risking your life. How does your wife feel or handle that? Seeing you doing all this.
You know, my wife thinks I'm nuts. I drive her crazy. I mean, we all drive our wives or husbands crazy. Whether you're a male magician, a female magician, whatever, we all
Hear
drive
that?
our partners crazy, right?
Yeah.
Or our significant others. I mean, we just do. Um, she's not a big fan of the escape. She wasn't when I started. And she has become less of a fan because of certain things that have happened in my career, accidents, and you know, I certainly haven't been without my injuries and
Yeah.
accidents
Sure.
and scary stuff. So, you know, she's not a big fan. She's there for certain TV shows because she would rather be there and see it than be sat at home and wondering if I'm okay.
Sure.
But you know, but she's also very supportive, and she's also in my corner. So yeah, she's good. She's a rock. I think we all have our partners and our significant others at home that we drive a little nuts, but at the end of the day, they're our rock. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Hear that?
yeah. So she's good. She's good.
Want to give some shouts. Got our friend Roger watching from North Las Vegas. We got people watching all over the world. If you are new to
Hey,
this,
Roger.
let us know where you're watching from, guys. If you're new here, we would love to see you more popping up because we do these things live every single week. So we'd love to see you here again, for sure. I'm looking through some more of the questions here as we start to get to the last part of all of this. Ellis says, can you do escapes in liquids other than water? He's giving you some Kool-Aid examples. But anyway.
Yeah, actually, very interesting. I just had a chat with a client this morning about possibly doing an escape out of beer,
Yes.
which sounds. Dean's done one. Houdini did one back in the day.
Okay.
It's actually, from what I understand, it's very dangerous. It's not just a matter of filling it with beer and it's liquid and you get in. There's all kinds of fumes and stuff that come off alcohol and come off beer, which present a whole different set of problems when it comes to doing an underwater escape. So, you know, that's something we're going to look into. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of people out there. Jonathan Goodwin, you know, he's I mean, he's a great performer. Not only is he a great performer, but such a clever guy when it comes to creativity and his routines. I mean, second to none. And a fellow illusionist, and he does some pretty crazy stuff. Where guys have done concrete. Jonathan does a thing with I think it's like sand or gravel that fills a container that he's in. So yeah, I mean, really, once you get into escapes and you start learning about locks and handcuffs and rope ties and things like that, then you've ultimately got to put yourself in something or on something or under something, or something's going to drop on you. You've got to make it bigger, and that's where the interesting part comes, and the dangerous part comes. By no means are escapes not dangerous. I don't want people to think, oh well, they're a magician doing fake locks and stuff, and it's not. Listen, I've injured myself and been close to death, and I don't mean that in a funny way or whatever, or a frivolous way. It's absolutely true. I have the utmost respect for this art, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was gonna show this. There was the last time I saw you, and we won't get into any specifics here, but the last time I saw you was this night. There we are, hanging out with the guy in the middle there. I think we all know who that is.
Right.
David Copperfield.
Right. Mr. Copperfield.
Yeah. And then you were doing some performing the next day. And, the topic always comes up of, have things gone wrong in the past without getting into any details. And Mark has a good question that kind of goes along with this. Because of the fact that things can obviously go wrong, and they have, do you get nervous before you do escapes now? Do you?
Yeah, I do now, actually. The particular incident you're talking about, which we can't go into the specifics, but I was on stage live, and I was filming a TV show, and I was doing the headbox escape that I'd done on Britain's Got Talent, which was always way, 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 way too dangerous. I had no safeties, no dump valves for the water, nothing. Right. Once I was in, and it was extremely dangerous, and I was doing it for a show, and I didn't get out, and I ended up realizing I had this flash moment. I'm gonna die. That was first time ever in my career. I'm gonna die. So I used my signal to my safety team, which I've never used before, because once you use the signal, the escape's up, right? The jig's up. So I used my signal, but I used it too late, and I passed out, and I hung myself, and they got me down, and by all intents and purposes, apparently I had a kind of a seizure on stage, and was taken to trauma, and the rest is history. So it didn't happen because I was stupid. It didn't happen because I didn't have all the outs in the world. I did. I had outs. I had everything. But in that moment, once I got so far in that moment, and I realized, I had this thought that I'm going to die. You can have all the extra lockpicks in the world. You can have all the outs and ideas in the world. But in that specific moment, they just went out of my head. And all I can tell you is, in that moment where I thought I'm going to die, and the eyes rolled up in the back of my head, it suddenly felt peaceful and calm. And, the next thing I know, I was on the stage. Since then, it was very, very difficult for me to get underwater. Actually, that escape with the headbox is now retired. It's in my garage. It will never be done again. I promised my wife I wouldn't go near it again. And that's a promise I'm going to keep. It's important. What's important is your health and your safety and your family. And I can't ever, no amount of money could ever change that. So, it's important to realize what your limitations are. But I learned a big lesson that day, and that is that I'm not, I'm not beyond myself. I'm not beyond anything dangerous happening to me. I'm doing these things, and these things are real, and I have to treat them with respect. I think I learned a very big lesson, and that was to respect the art that I'm doing. And so it's changed the way I do underwater escapes. I am very scared when I go underwater now. I still do it because I've made a rod for my own back doing these shows. It's what people expect. And it's also the thing that got me here, that got me, on TV, in The Illusionists, with you. I mean, it's the thing that did that. So, but I have a whole different respect for it now. And if I can impart that wisdom to anybody else as they're thinking of going into this stuff, I get messages all the time from people that want to do water tank escapes and they're building their own tanks and stuff. And it's just very important for people to realize that it's not a game and it's not just a magic trick. It's dangerous and it deserves respect and it deserves attention. I spent 3 years going underwater and locking myself up before I had this accident. Treat every time like the first time, and give it the utmost respect, because otherwise it will bite you in the behind.
Yeah. Well,
and you only get one shot at life. So it's yeah.
I've got about I think I got like one more good question here for you, and I'll start to wrap it up. We're at 45 minutes here, around
Sure.
that time. Damian James over on Facebook says,
Damien from Vancouver. He was on the show Penn and Teller. Fool Us. He's an incredible guy. Bill, did you see him with the Penn and Teller puppets?
Oh, that's the guy.
Puppets?
Yes,
that's Damian James. Yeah, he's a great. Hey, Damian.
Oh, cool.
He's a great guy, super nice guy.
Cool.
Just met him recently. A very, very talented builder and special effects artist. Yeah.
He wanted to know if you could talk about the aftermath of Britain's Got Talent. Just that whole thing, because you did it. And
yeah, I tried to get on Britain's Got Talent for 5 years, sending videos in.
Wow.
Contrary to popular belief, I didn't get called. I didn't get invited. I auditioned with a video by sending it online. I tried for like 5 years as a magician to get on there. And then it wasn't until I grew a beard, covered myself in tattoos, and stuck myself in a water tank that they said yes. So I actually was on the season in 2018 with Mark Spellman. We were on together. And what a lot of people don't realize is I actually got accepted in 2017, and I flew out there. I spent a lot of money to go out there because I wasn't invited. And so I went, and my water tank shattered during rehearsals, and it just emptied the water all over the set. And, I was injured. Tail between my legs. I was psychologically just done. It took me 5 years to get there. So that's what happened. And then a month later, I had another tank built, and I was on Penn and Teller. So anyway, once I'd done Penn and Teller, I kept emailing Britain's Got Talent, and finally they said yes. I went back, and in 2018, that's when I did it, and I got to the semifinals. Interestingly enough, though, the videos went viral, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of views collectively on my two performance pieces, and I was voted the #1 most dangerous act and the #2 most viewed act of Britain's Got Talent. I mean, it went insane, and it still does. And so the aftermath of that, I actually now am happy that I got voted off in the semifinals, because it allowed me to keep my own brand, and it allowed me to not be managed by this massive thing. I will say this, though, for anybody thinking about going on the Got Talent shows, it was an incredible opportunity. The team were incredible. Simon Cowell and his team treated me really well. I have nothing but good things to say. It was an incredible experience. They're not out to make you look stupid. It was all round incredible. And really, the only reason, well, not the only reason I put myself there, but the vehicle that started everything off. And then everything that I basically finished that came away. And then I got to work, because I started getting offered shows. I was offered a show in Rome, The World's Best, The Late Late Show with James Corden, The Illusionists, which wouldn't have happened without my appearance on Britain's Got Talent. And it still continues. I'm still getting offered show. And I got an agent and became a cruise ship magician, which I'd never done. It was one of my dreams to do that.
Yeah.
That was all from that. So anybody thinking about doing it, I don't know how long that franchise is going to keep going, I'll be honest. So get out there and do it. Make it. You know what? I say it all the time, never give up, right? Just grab the bull by the horns, grab the opportunity. And if you apply and they say no, then apply again. Because I applied 5 years. Every door that's open for me hasn't opened immediately. I've had to kick it in. And I know you hear that, but it's absolutely true. If I'd have stopped every time I was told no, I would not be where I am today. So it's so important to not take it personally. Pick yourself up, get back on the horse, and do it again, and keep doing it until your dream becomes a reality. It's so, so, so very important. Nobody will do it for you. Even now I'm told no, but I keep kicking down the door, because it's the only way. You're not going to get there without it,
Well said. Very well said. It's people are very, I don't know, man. It seems like these days people are very quick to quit. You know, it's like this instant gratification thing now. But I mean, there is no.
But you know what? I totally get it though. It's a hard world out there. It really is.
Yeah,
And magic now is so much harder to be somebody because of. I mean, social media. You know, I don't spend my time on social media much doing magic videos and stuff. And people
yeah,
say I should, but I'm a live performer. It's just not what I'm interested in.
sure.
I'm sure I could make more money having a YouTube channel. I'm not interested. I'm a live performer. That's where I get my kicks. That's what's that's to me. It's not about all the money in the world. It's about being passionate about something and loving what I do. And you know, and I don't love performing magic on YouTube and Facebook. I love going out and performing live, right?
Sure.
And so that's kind of where I've chosen to go. And it may not make me the richest person financially, but it sure is going to make me the richest person in here. You know, by doing what works for me and what I love, and that's what's so very important. Go out there and do what you love. You know, and my dad always said, you know, go out there, do what you love, and one day somebody will pay you for it if you're good enough at it. And it's not about being the best. It's not about being the next Shin Lim or the next, you know, it's not about being them. It's about being you. And ultimately, if you're you and you work at it, it will happen. But remember, it doesn't have to happen financially. As long as you can get up in the morning and feed yourself and pay your bills, you've already won, you know? So just make it count for you. Feel it in here and make
Well
yourself
said.
happy. Because trust me, the rest of it won't make you happy if you're not happy in here. So yeah. Anyway,
Well said. One last question before I let you go here. Nathan Armstrong, any tour updates? He was supposed to see you on the 6th of May and then again after for Electra. I know everything is in limbo, but do you have any tour updates? I guess as weird as that is.
yeah. My tour updates are that all my tours are gone. He's talking about I was going out back east in Canada. I was doing two big theaters out there. Then I was going to
Mm.
be at FISM performing and lecturing. Then I was going to be at a tattoo convention, all out back east. Those shows will happen again, Nathan. They're just on hold right now. But if you're out in that area, keep watching because the theaters will still have me. We're talking about the end of this year or maybe February, March 2021. We're also working on a tour right now, a theater tour for Washington and Montana in November of this year for me to bring my full theater show, which is about 90 minutes. And so we're just working on that. We've had a couple. It's hard to get people to commit right now and do deposits and things because of everything that's going on. But a couple of theaters have signed the contracts, so we're hoping that's going to go ahead. You know, I'm working on other stuff. I'm sure I'll be back with the Illusionists when things settle down. And as far as lecturing and stuff goes, I don't really lecture anymore. But you know, like I say, I'm going to be at FISM when that comes back online out in Quebec. And apart from that, just keep watching because I'll be doing ships. I'll be doing my thing. We're all in limbo right now, but it's okay, you know. And don't feel bad about whether or not you're doing magic or not doing magic or whatever. Just relax, just be healthy, just be safe, and just sleep on the couch for a day if you feel like it, and then work on magic for a day if you feel like it. Then, you know. So yeah, keep watching this space. I do post, and I will let you know when things come back up. But right now, everything, like for everybody, everything's gone, everything's closed down. So that's all we can do for now.
Yeah, well said. Well, again, I am glad we are all kind of stuck at home that we actually had a chance to get to chat with you. I know that you're a very busy guy when.
I really when we brought this up, I just thought it'd be such a cool thing to do.
Yeah,
I have more than time now, so I'm really happy, and it's great to see you, Luke, because I've not seen we get together once in a blue moon in Vegas, but I've not seen you for a very long
yeah,
time. And you know, to everybody out there, just before I sign off, I just want to say sincerely from my home to yours. Be safe, you know, social distance, wash your hands, please, please, please. Be healthy, look after your family, and, you know, and just use this time to realize there are more important things in life than money and being the best and, you know, and trying to be like everybody else. Just hunker down, be with your family, take care, and enjoy the simple things, you know. So
yes, yes, yes. I take that to heart myself. Yeah. Hope you guys are listening. All right. Well, Matt, I'm going to let you roll. Let the rest of you guys get out of here too. Thanks for hanging out. And don't forget, we'll be back next week. Same place right here, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We got Charlie Fry. So stay tuned for that. We will catch
Oh,
you.
my God. That guy. I mean, without doubt, one of my top 5 in the world, period. I mean, he's blowing up right now, his videos. He's so creative,
Yeah,
so
we're going to
creative.
talk all
Say
about
bye,
those
Yogi.
videos. Yeah. See you
Say
later,
bye, bud.
guys. See you, Yogi. All right, buddy. I'll
All
catch you
right.
later, Matt. Thank you again.
Stay safe, guys.
Cool.
My
See you.
pleasure. Bye now.